waves of liberation, we will rise. When we listen to the heart and the ways of the wise, on the flames of transformation, we will rise. From out of the shadows and into the light, into the light, into the light.
Woo! Good morning. Happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome to Unify. This is Unify Women Rising, and we are so excited. Today, we have an extraordinary show for you. We're going to be talking all about gratitude, appreciation, and self-love, self-care, and a really special announcement. So make sure that you watch this show all the way through to find out what's coming on May 18th. It's really going to be cool. So I am Debbie G. I'm tuning in from Huntington Beach, California. And I have with us our regular co-host, which is Amber Hartnell. Amber, where are you tuning in from?
Hello, everyone. I am tuning in today from North County, San Diego, right above Encinitas, overlooking the ocean, the blossoming jacaranda trees, and steeped in beauty. Happy to be here with you all.
Gosh, that just sounds amazing. And we have the beautiful Josie Ramirez-Herndon. Josie comes to us from the beautiful Palm Springs area, but I love to introduce her. She is the CEO of Advanced Therapeutic Services, as well as she's had an online journal called Recovery View for over 12 years now. And she's just a leader in the industry. But my favorite thing about Josie is her spiritual walk and her incredible channeling of Archangel Gabriel. So Josie, welcome.
Thank you, Deb.
And then we have, get this, we have Dr. Tassel. I just interviewed Dr. Tassel recently, and Dr. Tassel Shanebrook helps individuals remember who they are. Her foundational method is assisting clients assess and live from their own inner guidance. And as a licensed doctor of psychotherapy with 2 master's degrees, Dr. Tassel brings a high level of clinical education as a certified hypnotherapist, Kundalini yoga instructor, Reiki master, shamanic practitioner, and other powerful metaphysical modalities. So, Dr. Tassel, welcome.
Thank you. It is such a delight to be here with these 3 amazing women. I'm thrilled.
I am too.
Dr. Tassel is from Nashville, Tennessee. That's amazing. I have a dear friend there. I don't know. Do you know Lee McCormick, who owned the ranch in Nunnally and then the Integrated Life Institute?
Integrated Life Institute. That sounds familiar. Yeah. Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So he lives there. He's and his whole crew.
Awesome.
Amazing. You do all the spirit. I mean, everything you do would fit right into Lee and what he does. He does. He's a master teacher, spiritual teacher. He was my first teacher with Miguel Ruiz. But
you studied with Miguel Ruiz?
Yes.
Oh, amazing.
So one of his, that was 22 years ago up in Mexico, but you should definitely get to know Lee.
Yeah, I'll make a note of that. Lee McCormick.
McCormick, can't miss him.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, we've had some. He is truly amazing. We had a great event with him. So everybody, good morning, Unify. Good morning, audience. Please type into the chat. Where are you at in the world today? And being that it's Mother's Day weekend, we are here to celebrate the divine feminine and to celebrate how that we take care of ourselves and how that we appreciate our own being, our own beauty that was within each of us. And before that, speaking of beauties, let's talk about Rachel Morrison. She's got she's not feeling very well today, so we're going to send her a lot of love. And over to Miranda. She can't be with us today, but we're going to send her a lot of love. And I'm going to start today with Amber, because I don't think we've ever started with you, Amber, and I think it's about time. So,
do you have a question for me, or do you want me just to start riffing?
Yeah, I guess that might be an idea. Actually, we're just going to take a dive into self-love and gratitude and how that shows up in your life.
And
how,
beautiful. Well, appreciation, gratitude, these expressions of the same energy are self-love. I mean, it's a way that we can drench ourselves in the truth of who we are. So for me to use appreciation as a tuner, I really love I offer a lot of meditations for the people that I work with and for myself, where we enter in and we sit in the holy throne at the center of our heart. And I like to offer it like adjusting the radio station to tune into that frequency of appreciation and just to breathe it in, let it flood through every nerve. And when we do, we attune ourselves with that source consciousness. And from that perspective, I notice that everything begins to adjust for what we appreciate. Life wants to give us more things to appreciate when we're attuned to that radio station, so to speak. So I find it as just fundamental to everything that I do.
Oh, I love that, tuning into the radio station. And do you remember the AM radios? And you would, anybody, I don't know if you guys remember it, but you turn it. Well, that's kind of what it's like when life is giving us, when we're seeing a reality that's saying we can't quite hear the frequency, we can't quite hear the sound. I love how you brought that up. I'm seeing it in my eyes. So I'd like to go to Josie.
Okay. It was probably 2 months ago, and I'm writing my book, so I randomly get these chapters, and we were talking about, we meaning Gabriel and I, as I'm tapping into the archangel realm, and gratitude will bring humans to cognitive reality, is what he put. So I know that's an interesting way of putting it, but he says, which means when spinning, that everything is okay in that moment. So when the world is spinning around or things are chaotic, and you can get to a place of gratitude, which we are gratitude, then that brings us to the reality of what is true. So when we're, it's almost like Eckhart Tolle. I mean, being in the now. When we come to gratitude, it wakes us up and says, "Oh, I'm like at this moment, I'm okay." So it's being in the moment of where we are now, and truly appreciating that we're alive, we're breathing. And you'll notice when you talk to people, or I do, because I work with addicts all day long, right? For 30 years, and mental health clients. That's what I specialize in. We have 70 clients in treatment right now. And so gratitude is our biggest focus, is try to get them to a place of appreciation. They have zero appreciation. Even if they have the best circumstances, they cannot find appreciation in anything in life. So just helping them get there into that moment is critical when it comes to self-love and everything else. And then it's like a paradigm shift. It's an entire dimensional shift from being ungrateful to being grateful at that moment. So it's definitely a wonderful topic for today.
You're muted, Debbie.
Yes, you're muted. And of course, I want to remind everybody that Debbie G stands for Debbie Gratitude. When I first met her, she's Debbie Gratitude, and she's written workbooks on gratitude. I've had her do workshops at my facility on gratitude. She's Debbie Gratitude. Anytime I call her trying to whine, she takes me back to gratitude.
I do hold the, see, but that's something actually, Josie, it's really important when we step into how that we support each other in space. And Josie and I, she's like a sister to me, and her daughters are like my nieces. They're just like my babies, and her son, and Nolan. But when something's going on in our life and this happens, we all experience it. And there's those moments you don't feel like being grateful, for goodness sake. Come on now, please. But you need that space in order to vent. It's not that we need to be fixed. We don't need an answer. We don't need anything. Sometimes we just need to talk it through. Talk it through. Even when it sounds like victim mentality, that's okay to be there. Because that's how we can work it through. But as women, we can hold space for one another and create it so safely that we're able to help then to bring them back to their heart. And that's really the key. When I'm talking to anybody, when I'm talking to Josie, when Josie's talking to me, she'll come through and she'll bring me back to my heart, back to my heart. Because whenever I'm not in my heart and I'm up here, that's when the clusters begin. If anybody knows what we're talking about. By the way, if you can't get in gratitude, that's okay. Just say, I wish I was in gratitude. There's your first tool for the day. I wish I was. Say it just like that. Whine and everything, please.
I like to offer on that, if you can't easily find something you're grateful for, then you can bring it down to the most simple level, which is breath. moving in and out of the body, the breath that animates us, that keeps us alive, that we can just be even the most tiniest bit grateful for that. There's something we can align with, that we can then grow and allow that to blossom into more that we can find from that place.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I would love Dr. Tassel. I know we said you and then we just kind of keep talking, but this is something that you just did a workshop on yourself with self-love and gratitude. So let's talk about that.
Oh my goodness. I could talk for hours and hours on this topic. I love everything everyone has shared so far. To me, I feel when we are able to be in our gratitude energy, we're really being in our highest consciousness, in our God self, part of ourself. And we're all talking about seeing everything as a gift, right?
Mhm.
Every single situation, every single interaction. And there's sort of we're toggling. Our human self is challenged by some of these situations and experiences pain and discomfort. In our God self, we understand that everything that is coming into us is ultimately for our highest and best, and for everyone connected to us for their highest and best. So the practice that I really use in my work is to just honor both of those perspectives, to honor the human's feelings. Yeah. And to feel everything, to feel, oh my gosh, this is awful. Yeah. I don't want this at all. Right. The grief, the desperation, the pain, whatever's coming up, to just honor that so deeply. And then to come back to our higher consciousness, to understand we are down here, we are having an adventure, we are expanding. And I know for me, as I look back on my life, say 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever I was really being challenged by, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is too much, I can't do it, I don't want to be in this situation. When I look back, there were so many incredible gifts that I received, mostly in my own expansion as a being, and what I was able to hold in my different initiations of grace, unconditional love, forgiveness, perseverance. I always say in all of my work that our consciousness is all that we take with us after this lifetime, right? So having gratitude for the adventures, the challenges that come our way, that expand us in ways we would never be expanded if everything was super easy for our human. And one of the things I like to do is, if I'm feeling a little down or not so much in gratitude, I call it the avalanche of gratitude. And I do this sometimes with my kids, even in the car. And I'll say, you want to do an avalanche of gratitude? And they're teenagers, so sometimes they're not really so on board. But it's, I'll say something I'm really grateful for, and then my kids will say something. We just go back and forth. And Amber, like you were saying, just getting down to the most basic level. I am grateful for my eyesight. How amazing that I can see.
That's right.
I am grateful for my legs. I can walk. I am grateful that I have food in my house. Yeah, there's always something to be grateful for. And as you all have so wisely been saying, gratitude is a generative energy, a very positive generative energy. So the more we steep ourselves in gratitude, the more comes in to be grateful for, as within, so without. So such a great practice. And one of the things I always talk about with my clients is, in the morning, you can choose to set your energy, right? We can choose to tune in to any energy we want, including gratitude. So that's a great morning practice. What kind of energy do I want to tune into?
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Setting your intentions before you even get out of bed. What are your thoughts when you first wake up in the morning? So one of my favorite gratitude practices is edification. I love to edify. When we edify others, that is the deepest form of radical appreciation you can do. So what I want everybody to do that's watching right now is tag somebody that you want to edify, and put "I am grateful for you" into the tag. Okay, Put it into the chat. I want to see. And if you get an idea to put another message in there and it's really cool, we're going to bring it up and we're going to share it with everybody. So just type it into the chat. Who are you grateful for? Because here's the deal. We can be grateful for a lot of things, but the fact of the matter is that we as human beings, we are the most important thing here. Stuff is stuff. I've been with no stuff, and I've had stuff, and stuff comes and goes and whatever. Well, I mean, people come and kind of go too, but that's not the point. Point is, the stuff doesn't stay in my heart. People stay in my heart. That's it. And so when we can think about those, thank you. I see somebody's already doing it. We think about those who have helped us get to the space that we are at right now. Just feel into it and then thank them. So I'm watching for everybody.
Could I speak to what you just said real quickly?
Sure.
So our most challenging relationships, that the people in our lives that maybe have really been challenging, have gratitude for them. They are our greatest teachers.
Yes.
And they have taken on roles in this lifetime for our growth. And often they've taken on very uncomfortable roles. Seeing it from the bigger perspective. So the most challenging people in your life, we can in some ways have the most gratitude for.
I love that, because you can't know something you're not. And Amber, yes.
Yeah, I just would love to pull on that thread a little bit more. And it was coming up for me when you were sharing earlier, by the way. I love the way that you expressed it, beautifully said. It's one thing to be in the practice of appreciating what's easy to appreciate, right? It's a whole nother level to be in the practice of practicing gratitude and appreciation for what's challenging in our life, people, circumstances, whatever it is. And I love, similarly, I've had so many experiences that have been incredibly challenging, and yet I've learned from all of them. I've grown in some way from all of them. So you have enough of those experiences and you come to understand that they are right, even if they're really hard to go through. So you can start learning how to know that on the other side, there'll be growth and evolution and that you will appreciate it. So to be able to pull that thread forward into the moment when you're sitting in the discomfort in whatever the experience is, and just digging deep to find what you can appreciate, even appreciate the growth that you don't know yet will manifest from this, but is inherent within the challenge. That's like the ninja level training of gratitude practice.
That is ninja. Okay, Josie.
Oh, my mic. Yeah. I just want to share a little personal stuff with the audience and see how that goes. This weekend is Mother's Day weekend, and there's so much going on emotionally. My sister, who I just want to dedicate this to, my part of the show and what we're talking about. My niece, Vanessa, her daughter died in January 9th on her birthday. So this is her first Mother's Day this is all of our first Mother's Day, but her first Mother's Day without her only daughter. And I can just feel the energy already bubbling up. She's coming today and but then on the other hand, my other niece, my other sister's daughter had a baby Isabella on Thursday. And baby Bella and Rosalie, and I'm sorry about that, I can't get the texting to stop on my computer, but baby Bella's coming home tomorrow on Mother's Day. So it's just beautiful how God and the universe planned this, because tomorrow we get to all focus on baby Bella and the new life, as well as honoring Vanessa. And I have to say, my sister is grateful every day for Vanessa. And when I talk to her, she is in grief, but she's in a place where she's so grateful that she had her daughter, and for her daughter. And I admire her so much for that, because I don't know how I would be. Nobody knows, and we don't want to know what it's like to lose a child. But I know that she, from what I'm seeing and when I talk to her, she finds, the fun stories, the, fun conversations about Vanessa. So it's just, the gratitude is amazing. I mean, she's coming from a soul place of gratitude. So I know that this weekend and tomorrow, gratitude is just all over the place, because we've got our new baby, Bella, who's just straight from the angels. And then we have our Vanessa that we love so much, who's with the angel. It's just incredible. The whole, and I wanted to share that, because I know that there are people out there that you know, sometimes holidays aren't as wonderful if you've had a loss, or, you know, because true grief is just as an amazing place that nobody can explain. It's a mystery, you know, especially parents losing children. It's a mystery. And all we can do is, you know, be there. And yes, you know, certainly spiritually, I can go to my higher self and see Vanessa being happy and wonderful and the baby coming through. But as you were saying, when we're in our human self is why, as Dr. Tassel says, the reason we're here is to be our human self at this moment. And our human self feels all of it. And that's perfect. It's okay. I've allowed myself to grieve this whole time, where before I would just get encumbered with my work. But I've taken time off to grieve and to feel the energy of grief and embrace it so that I could heal from it. And I just thought I would share that, because it is sometimes you go, okay, how can you be in a place like this and then do a quantum leap, which it feels like a quantum leap into gratitude when you're in depression and sadness. But you know, it can happen. I've seen it with my sister, who's incredibly raw, but she changes every time she talks about Vanessa. Her face lights up, and then we all are okay.
You know, I'm going to send out love. We love her.
Yes.
I love her. And I can't wait to see the new baby.
Oh my
I can't
goodness.
wait.
She is so smart already, but yeah.
So extra love there. I actually, you know, there's some gratitude and grief. And since we're bringing this up right now, there's different emotions, you're right, happening. And 5/5 was Wayne's birthday, and that's the father of my children, Wayne Zwick. And he passed away almost 6 years ago. And my son is here visiting, and we're walking, and I remember, you know, the gratitude and grief for me was what the gift they gave me by leaving their physical body was this deep, grateful beingness to appreciate life, to stop taking it for granted, to not take care of yourself, to start loving myself deeper, to start letting go, to start looking at life differently. When somebody leaves this physical planet, it rips us open so that we can then use that gift to appreciate what is right now. And if you're not appreciating life, you're in the past or in your future tripping somewhere, you know? And I loved what Dr. Tassel and what Amber were bringing up about the gratitude in when it's not pretty. And I'm going to tell you something. I am grateful for every transgressor, if you want to call it a transgressor, that I've ever had from childhood on, period. I'm going to blow y'all away right now. They came to this planet to be our transgressor, and you know their life sucks. Their life's not happy. No transgressors living around like we are. We're all just like expanded and growing, and their expansion was to give life for us. So when we look at life differently, life shows up differently is really the key here. And I have a happy little fact really quickly. Practicing gratitude is related to 23% lower levels of stress and hormones, which is your cortisol. So think about that. And that comes straight from Dr. Robert Emmons at UC Berkeley, who has studied gratitude for over 30 years. In fact, you should check it out if you can, because it's really, Dr. Robert Emmons is amazing. Seriously. It's one of my favorite professors out there. Anyway, scientists.
I love it. I love it.
Of gratitude.
I love my God. It's just so yummy.
Do you mind if I add on to everything everyone's saying? I love so much wisdom. Drop the mic moments here. I love all the personal stories you all have shared, and I'll just share one of my personal stories. About six and a half years ago, I really realized I had to leave my marriage, which also meant that I would have to not be a full-time mom, which was really my major childhood dream of my human for my whole life. I just wanted to be a full-time mom. I wanted to stay married, but that was not feasible. And so I left, and so much grief around that, so much pain around that. And what really helped me move through that into more gratitude was first of all, really honoring my human and really just taking the time to feel all of the grief. It was a grief process. It was a quite a long grief process. And then at the end of that, after I'd felt all that, this insight came in from spirit that was simply, okay, that dream is not happening. That dream is over. Those are the facts. That is not what your soul had planned for you in this lifetime. So what's your new dream? What's your new dream? And that orientation has helped me so much. And again, it comes down to our sweet, precious human self, the egoic mind. It wants what it wants, and it wants to know what's happening, and it wants to get its way, but it's limited, right? So as Debbie, as you said, coming back into our heart mind, coming back into our sacred connection with our higher self, Mother, Father, God, and surrendering, right? Surrendering to what your soul has planned for you. Yes. And as I look back on that whole experience, I still have some pangs of pain around it, but I can see the enormous adventure, I would say, that whole situation took me on. For me to spend a lot of time on my own, for me really to come back to myself, for me to expand in so many ways. So I have so much gratitude for that situation, even though for my human self, it was devastating. But most likely all of us can look back at what for our human were maybe traumatic experiences, very challenging experiences. And on the other end, see the amazing gifts that you have received.
Wow. That was, I love that. You know, and what I'm hoping the audience is catching here with these stories is that, look, Dr. Tassel's still here.
I thought I might die from heartbreak.
She's not. She's here.
Yeah.
She's still here.
Yes.
She's made it through.
Yes.
She's on the other side. Look,
exactly.
I'm still here.
Yes, we're all still here. Better than ever.
Oh my God.
Better than ever, right?
That's the point.
Totally. Yes.
Better than ever.
And I definitely want to hear from Amber on this. And Amber, there's one thing I know is that you are mastering healing the human physical body. You're mastering healing the internal. I mean, it's just amazing what you're doing, the work you do out there. Before that you say that, though, I just want to bring this up because Sean Kelly says, I am grateful for Tassel Shanebrook.
That's my partner. Yay. Thanks, Sean. I wasn't sure if he was tuning in. That's so sweet.
That's great. I just thought that. Well, Sean, you win.
For you, baby.
Thank you. So, Amber.
Yeah, well, there's a few things that were really pinging for me there when you were sharing, both Dr. Tassel and Debbie. And, you know, that's really around this piece around gratitude's capacity to bring us back into connection with the present moment, right? I know, Debbie, you referenced it, that if our thoughts and energy are projecting to the future, you know, or tied into the past experiences, it's siphoning our power away from the moment, which is the only place our power can actually live. It's the only place we can effectively make any change in our life, right? And choose to restore our agency and how we orient moment by moment. So just again, bringing it back to that fundamental piece of how it brings us back into the moment where we can make a new choice from here and tune ourselves. And I love this piece that you were speaking to, Dr. Tassel, around, you know, like how we can use these challenges to keep expanding into more of who we are, right? That's, if we recognize they're an inherent opportunity to grow, to learn, to restore more of our power, to call it back from where it's been arrested and tied up in these patterns that keep us bound into a diminished version of ourselves. So it's really, for me, it's about congruency. Like Debbie, you were referencing the healing of the body, the internal, all of it is about coming into full congruency with our soul, who we are in truth, and what we came to bring forth as the gifts that are embedded within who we are.
Love it.
Wow, that was really it's exciting. It's exciting. What you ladies are showing me, and an audience, you can reiterate this, the limitless possibilities of life. When we step into the right mindset, and we step into the right practices. And that's the most awesome part. Josie, we haven't heard from you for a second. I know there's something brewing. Let me unmute you. Oh, I can't unmute you.
There, I muted myself because my text messages have been popping through and I don't know how to undo that. So hopefully you guys can hear that. No, I've just been listening. This is great. Again, when it's a true message from spirit, it's all going to say the same thing. Yeah. So I think that we all four have been saying the same thing in different words because we are congruent and we are tapped into our higher self right now. And that's amazing when I could be on a panel with women, you know, or anybody, women, men, or in a conversation with a group of people where we're all, you know, tapped in and our higher spirits are just going like, wow, you know, boom, boom, boom. We're in alignment. And so I'm hoping that, you know, for our audience that they feel that congruency, that they tap in with us to this energy so that we're starting this weekend off, starting this day, you know, in a wonderful place of gratitude. For some of us, we're on the West Coast, so it's still morning, you know, and others it's afternoon. But, you know, whether you're starting your day now or starting your weekend today or just whatever it is, if we can all tap into this for the weekend and beyond, but especially for the weekend, because it's just a beautiful, you know, time to celebrate, whether it's your mother or your children's mother. I know a lot of us, some people don't have their mothers, but you know, that's okay. There's a mother that they know, right? There's somebody who knows a mother that they can just text Happy Mother's Day to, because a lot of times, and we were kind of talking about this before the show, is that as mothers, we don't always feel appreciated by our, you know, by our children, you know, like I currently, and I know that it's just interesting because I'm thinking, okay, Mother's Day, I'm excited about all the stuff I discussed, but as far as my own kids go, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I mean, I don't know if they've, you know, decided to make me cards at their age, or if they're gonna, you know, have a surprise for me, or if the surprise is gonna be, you know, just a text message. I have no idea, you know. So with kids, it's hard to tell. And that's part of our journey. They talk about teachers. My children are my teachers. I am not their teacher. That was something I learned a while back, because I always thought, okay, when they were younger, I'm like, okay, I'm their teacher. No, they're my teacher. They're my teacher. Every day they teach me something about myself and about life. They're my mirrors. Every time I think I'm doing, you know, whatever, I'm okay. Oh no, mom, da da da. Oh, there goes my ego. I mean, they're the perfect for my ego, my children. You know, so talk about gratitude, right? They keep my ego in check. They make sure, you know. The good thing is they do let me know if I have food in my teeth or whatever. I mean, they might have the world along with it, but they let me know what's going on with myself. So Mother's Day should be fun, hopefully. And if not, like I said, I've got the grandkids. Oh my word. So, they're just amazing.
You know, Josie, do you know who Dr. Shafali Sabari is? Have you heard of her? She's an amazing psychotherapist, has written several really wonderful books. And one of them is called Conscious Parenting. And there's a line in that book that just articulated my experience so well. And she states that children are these mirrors that are perfectly designed to reflect what's unconscious and unintegrated within us, so that we can locate it and hopefully integrate that piece. That's the
do something with it. Yeah. At the moment, you're judging the situation, but yeah.
Yeah. So I've often really thought of motherhood being a parenthood, but motherhood specifically here, a rapid evolutionary path, not for the faint of heart.
Yes. And this point that you beautiful women are bringing up is also, I think, a very healing practice towards our own parents that we may have had a difficult time with. And I know for a long time, I just thought, oh, my parents are supposed to take care of me and support me emotionally, whatever. And the way I see it now is the way we're talking about that. No, actually, I am largely a teacher for them. And I am largely here to help them move through uncomfortable aspects that have not been expanded or integrated or healed. And that has been such a healing perspective for me to see my parents in that way and the role that I'm taking on with them. And I just have to speak to what Amber, you so beautifully talked about, that these experiences, these challenges, adventures, I love to use the word adventure.
Yeah.
It feels very positive for me because an adventure sometimes is really difficult and sometimes it's really scary, painful. It's unknown. We don't know what's going to happen, but there's always treasures. It's always exciting. It's always expansive. You said so beautifully, these adventures, challenges bring us back to ourselves. And one of the greatest gifts that I've received, and I'm sure you all have too, is coming back to myself, coming back to my own inner bliss, contentment, joy, and peace, and really embodying that my happiness does not rely on the external. I thought, oh, my happiness was because I was a mother or because I was married or this or that. And when all of that fell away, I sense that all of us have had this experience of a dark night of the soul, of everything falling away. Everything falls away. Where do you go? There's no other place to go but towards yourself and towards spirit. And the amazing gift there is realizing, yes, my true inner happiness, peace, contentment is right within me, no matter what I have or don't have on the external. And this is freedom.
Yes.
So these adventures, these challenges, they bring us to freedom.
Yes.
They bring us to freedom. There is no greater gift, right? We don't, everything on the external is the icing on the cake. There's wonderful things on the external, but the cake is us. The cake is us.
So well said.
I love that. The cake, we are the cake. And I
are
love
the
that.
cake, yes.
We are the cake, you know? Oh,
Yes.
that is beautiful. And I want to thank Kathy. Kathy brought up a great comment here. I ain't mad at him because it made me a beast. Nipsey Hussle. My trauma has equipped me with great skill in working with children with behavior challenges, and I'm grateful for that. So this is something really powerful that you're talking about, Kathy. You're talking about taking your power back. You're talking about, instead of you looking at it as a victim, you're taking that energy, you're redirecting it, and you're putting it into something that is creative in your passion and to be of service. That's kind of the trick, is when you can learn to take that same energy. Oh, actually, I'll just tell you what, look. My mom and I haven't talked in a few years. She's not thrilled with me, whatever. She's older. She's going to have to just be whoever she is. It was very, very difficult for a while because, I miss my mom. My mom's rad. She's so cool. She's written like 5 books.
Wow.
Dr. Rita Garcia, go look her up. She's on Facebook. She's phenomenal. I miss the woman, but, we have to practice the art of non-interference. We have to allow life to be what it's going to be and realize and appreciate experiences that everybody's having and experienced. As a mom myself, I had an experience recently alone in my car. I had these things alone in my car. Anybody else have the alone in the car moments? Just like, wah! Okay. So I'm alone in my car and I'm like, I'm okay no matter how my children are. They're doing wonderfully. They're not doing wonderfully. If I'm okay either way, I'm okay. I started realizing that practicing the art of non-interference is actually beginning to happen. I've been saying it for I don't know how long, but it really wasn't happening. I was interfering a lot, lots. When you have adult children, you want to interfere sometimes. And what's so funny is when I stepped back, I got to observe and experience the magic of them being themselves and learning who that they are inside and loving what I'm seeing. Like, oh my God, look at this being. They're just extraordinary. Rather than me thinking they should be doing this, they should be doing that. You should be doing this and blah, 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 blah. So that was my car moment where I just sat there and thought, wow. And I can really feel into that bigger in my heart than trying to codependently control situations. Because that is a deep form of grateful beingness when you can just appreciate the beauty within another without thinking, well, yeah, but if you did do this thing, my child, I am mother. Yes. I gave birth to you. Anybody ever say, but Mom, why? Because I said, how come? Because I gave birth to you. That's why. Just do that thing I just said, would you?
Because I'm your mother.
Because I'm your mother, right? No. So
No.
It's such a relief to go with the flow of life and not resist what's happening, and to also understand our precious children have their own higher selves and their own soul's plan. And we are just we're guardians of them down here. We don't own them. They're not ours to direct. They are on their own unique individual path. And what freedom is that as well for us to just be able to, okay.
That's the beauty of it. That is truly the beauty. I have to say, my children are all on their spiritual path, and I'm so proud of them. And they each have they're different. They're so different. I have 3 children, and they couldn't be any more different, right? I don't know if you guys have the same with your teenagers and everything, but I'm sure they're unique, and I see their uniqueness and their God self and the spiritual self. I mean, they are in their 20s doing things that I didn't start doing until I was in my 30s when it came to my spiritual evolution. I mean, my youngest daughter is a Reiki master healer. She's amazing. She's got a wellness center, and Chelsea does all this holistic, medicine, and they're just amazing. They're amazing. They grew up in a house that we owned rehabs, and my husband practices medicine, so he prescribes, although, but you have to prescribe psychiatric medicines and detox stuff. And that's fine. They respect all of that. But they decided to go in a more holistic because they saw, that we are more medical and, from what they grew up with. So it's amazing to watch that they're still now at the end of the day doing the work, in a sense, that they're doing the beautiful healing work, but not in a box. So that's beautiful, because I was always in a box. So when it came to treatment and everything, I mean, very mainstream, but that's changed over the last few years. But you have to be accredited and certified and licensed and everything to do the work that we do, so that we can help the masses. But the kids I'm grateful, because as you were talking, I realized that, wow, looking at it from that perspective, again, from gratitude versus taking it personal, like say the last few weeks, I've taken things personal. No, it's beautiful to watch them from a distance. So that's going to be a nice Mother's Day start for me tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Women Rising, that's what we're doing together.
It's so beautiful to experience our children as that kind of unfurling fractal of the evolution, right?
Yes, the evolution.
I think of that as witnessing my children, like this is proof of evolution in action, to see where they even got to start from in their development, as opposed to what I came in with and had to work my way through and find my way. So to see them, 12 and 16, where they're at, what they have, what is in their awareness, the conversations we have, the things that they think about, that weren't even really in the collective consciousness so much when I was that age, right? So it's just, I think, fascinating to observe that. And I love the piece that you were speaking to, Dr. Tassel, as well, of, I think of it as being stewards, of our children, that we, if we really trust that each soul has its unique path and its inherent gifts that are baked into who they are, that we are here to pay close attention, to listen to what their interests are, feed them resources, support, so that they can unfurl as who they came to be in their fullest expression. I feel like that's the greatest responsibility and sacred task we have as mothers, to steward these beings and to support this evolution that's unfolding through us.
Yes, I love what you just said. And even in a larger perspective, for us to embody this orientation towards all of our sisters and brothers on the planet.
Yes.
Getting into non-judgment, that every single precious being on the planet is here, obviously, for their own precious sacred path that will be very unique.
Yes.
And how this orientation brings so much peace. We don't have to judge. We don't have to give our opinions necessarily. Live and let live. And every precious being is a beautiful piece of the mosaic of what is bringing us into a higher consciousness on the planet. And I also want to just briefly touch on, Debbie, some wisdom that you beautifully expressed about when we go through our adventures, our challenges, on the other side, we develop values. From this experience, what do I now really value? What do I really honor? What do I really privilege? And then this can become our life purpose. I'm sure all of us on this beautiful panel, we've been through certain things. It created a fire within our bellies, right? A fire for what is so precious to us. And probably that's the work that we do. We do the work that is related to what we have been through and what we learned and what has become so precious to us.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. And it's a really good time to talk about, I love values, but here's the needs, values. What? Let me tell you something. There's years ago when my previous relationship and we split up after 14 years together. And I realized like, oh, I don't think I should be dating. I don't think I should do it. Well, I tried. I'm like, yeah, I think I need to stop. That's when I went into that dark night of the soul and went through all those things. But learning values, what are my needs? When somebody said that to me the first time, I was like, what? As mothers, some of us stopped realizing that we were important. As wives, as girlfriends, as whatever, we stopped realizing, we are important. We have forgotten we are important. We have forgotten who we are. What I discovered in my journey of staying alone by myself, no dating. Josie knows, no dating. No dating. I was alone, I was going to do this thing and figure out at least get some idea of who I was, but also learn to love myself, because this is what I found out. Once I learned to love myself, then I was able to love someone else. But how did I figure out what values and needs were? For me, it was studying Marshall Rosenberg's work, nonviolent communication. It's been taking college classes in communication, because what I discovered is that I was the common denominator in my relationships, and that I needed to get my shit straight. My stuff straight. So I want to just take a moment and for everybody that's watching, we have a really super exciting way for you to get in touch with your needs and values. If you were like me, and by the way, I'm married now. Just so you know, I should throw that in. That once and now I'm figuring out relationship and self-love. Hello. Which Dr. Tassel's doing an entire series on right now on YouTube. We'll put that into the thing. But I'm going to show you guys really quickly, just a quick video. There's going to be a link in the chat. On May 18th, we're going to do a really gorgeous Love Fest right here on Unify from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific time. It's going to be extraordinary. We have the most amazing people. Brothers Corin is going to come and perform, along with Bhakti's going to be performing, and so many others. We have a comedian who's going to come on, and she's going to be sharing all about self-love, and it is going to be a giant love fest. So it is, again, it's on May 18th, Self-Love Fest, brought to you by Unify Women Rising, Unify and Spirituality Gone Wild, which is like gone wild. I'm telling you what. So let's just watch this really quick. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and we're going to get right back to this gorgeous discussion. Yay! Is that going to be fun?
Yes.
So,
And by the way, Bhakti is my son-in-law, Brianna's husband, and he's wonderful. My son-in-laws are great. So that's another thing you have to look forward to. More children when they get married.
more children. Yeah, completely.
Adult children. I don't know what to call them at this age. I really don't.
So we're going into the last 10 minutes here, and what I want to do is share some tools, and I'm going to share one of my favorite tools that I give to people when they're just beginning this exploration of self-love and what it even means. Because for some of us, at least for me, it was totally foreign. I didn't get it, didn't understand it. I was the one looking in the mirror going, I love you. And I'm thinking to myself, this is ridiculous. This is so damn stupid. I can't even believe I'm standing here doing this right now. But I would do it anyway. But the biggest tool that I did is I wrote down I am statements. I am. And every single day I would take a self-check about every hour. Where am I? And looking only at myself. See, if you're looking outside of you for any reason whatsoever, you're going to just stay where you are. So you may as well just not bother listening to me right now. Go back and read it when you're ready. Listen when you're ready. If you're ready, don't look at anything outside yourself and get ready to step into deep self-accountability for your life. There is nobody outside of you that's doing a thing to you. That is a perception, and it's only a perception, and it's one that had to be shifted in my world, because if I kept blaming somebody else for where my life was at, my life was going to get even worse and stay where it's at. Or I don't know that it was worse. It was just an experience, because I don't, not good or bad. Not my preference. Not my preference. So the tool I want to leave you with is that you are so important that if you can just sit down and write down all the things about yourself that you absolutely admire. What do you admire about you? What do you admire? Go inside. The self-talk of, oh, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I just did that. Oh my God. That's got to stop. And Amber is just biting at the bit. I love this. I love that.
To what you're saying there, because that's so important, right? That we can learn how to turn our appreciation in on ourselves and really see ourselves through the eyes of somebody who loves us, right? It's very interesting to me how we can, as humans, often have such an easy time appreciating and loving everyone around us, and have such a hard time turning that in on ourselves. And I find this to be a really common pattern for many very highly evolved people as well. So important, this practice that you're offering. And I'd love to give a little kind of adjunct to it for those that are really needing to reroute some of those baked in neural pathways that are not generative, right? So you're speaking of negative self-talk. I like to give the invitation to choose up to 3 patterns, like either 3 looping thoughts that don't benefit us, right? And identify them clearly, and then decide what the replacement thought is going to be when it comes up, right? Because the moment that we start sliding into that thought, it's an ingrained neural groove. It's kind of like when you roll the wheelbarrow along a path over and over again, it creates that groove that the wheel just slides into when you go on the path. It's the same within our neurology. So when we go through the process of identifying it and then interrupting it, the moment that we begin to slide into it, we kind of pull the wheel out of the rut, and then we redirect that energy that was going into the rut, redirect it into the direction of the positive thought and experience that you want to replace it with. And what happens in this process, excuse me, it doesn't take very long if we're diligent and consistent with it. But what happens is that old ingrained neural groove, when you interrupt it enough times and you no longer utilize a pathway, there's a process called synaptic pruning. And they'll actually go in and prune that synapse as if it didn't ever exist. And then the new track that you've practiced and laid repeatedly becomes the groove that you slide into, but it's a positive groove that supports you with the experience you want to have. So this is so valuable, a very useful tool that really helped me to rewrite my neurology early on from some patterns that I had adopted as a child that were not supportive.
That's beautiful. I'm curious, Amber. Can you give everybody an example? Give them an example of what word would that you didn't want to use, that you wanted to shift.
Well, into a word, or it could be a phrase, or just whatever a thought may be. So you gave an example of, like, oh, I hate my body would be an example. Like I worked with a woman recently who had real body shame and hatred. And so she would constantly say, I hate my body. I hate this body. It's broken, you know, and she just would continue to repeat it and then generate an experience of being in her body that was not fun. We'll say that. So to help her begin to identify that, but then to choose, okay, what do you want to replace it with? And start very simply, just simply, I love my body. And you may not believe it at first, most likely not if you practice the other thought, but just as you referenced earlier, Debbie, we have to start practicing it, right? And start allowing that to become familiar in our system till the system actually catches up and believes it and makes that to be true.
That was so good.
Mm-hmm.
That was so good. Josie, yeah.
Yeah, I'll share, and because I know Dr. Tassel will have something awesome to end us with, because you know this is her specialty is self-love, and that's wonderful. But for me, when I started my journey 22 years ago in 2000, and I went up to the mountain, I call it, but up to the pyramids, and did a lot of work. One of our things that I didn't realize I didn't love myself until that day when we were looking at ourselves. Mm-hmm. So one of the tools that I started doing that came, you know, from that trip was I came home and I put an altar up for myself. And I know you've probably done these things, and I still have my baby pictures out. So I have my baby picture and my school picture that's goofy and all of those children, you know, and I put them up in my room with a candle, and I just started falling in love with that child. And that baby. So anytime I would be upset with myself, I would just go look at the baby and she's precious, she's beautiful. And so I would love myself through loving myself as a child, as a baby, and having mercy on myself, you know, because a lot of this came from that age. And then to look in the mirror, I would look in the mirror and ask God, I would say, I'd love to see the eyes. I'd love to see the world through your eyes. So I asked God, can I see the world through your eyes? And that you can see the world through my eyes. And when I do that practice in front of the mirror, all of a sudden, it's a beautiful sight. You know, before I was like, wow, I'm actually looking like God and I are like one. We're looking through each other's worlds together. And I fall in love with myself. Because I'm falling in love with God. So, you know, it takes the stories out of why, as humans, it's the most difficult thing to love ourselves. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if we say we can love our baby, if we can love ourselves through the eyes of Source, those were tools that helped me find self-love.
Beautiful.
Oh, I love that, you know, and she's a cute little one. I tell you, she is. I remember you showed that to me. Remember long ago, many moons ago. And we talked about that. And it is actually a very powerful practice. I have a picture of me when I was 5, and I put like laugh out loud, want to play, stuff like that on it. And I share it out to Facebook every once in a while just because I want to promote my 5-year-old self. I mean, seriously, it's a beautiful practice. So, Dr. Tassel.
Oh my goodness. I love everything. We're all in the same consciousness. I love everything, Amber, you shared, and Josie and Debbie. Yes, the underpinning of self-love is seeing ourselves as God sees us. And of course, we are God. God is us. So adopting our God self towards ourselves as much as we can. And as Josie or Amber, you so beautifully said, being the mindful gardener of our own mind. Mm-hmm. Oh, just being aware. Oh, look at this thought that is coming up. Is that supporting me? Is that loving towards me? Is that positive towards my life? And weeding out any thoughts, beliefs that are not supporting us. And as you said, planting the seeds of supportive, expansive beliefs. And I just want to share 2 quick practices that are very tangible for self-love, because I know for me earlier in my evolution, I knew I was supposed to love myself, but I didn't really know what that meant. What does that actually mean in my daily life? So here's just 2, I think, fun practices. One is to take a picture of yourself. I like to take a picture of myself as a child and frame it and put it in a place of honor in your home. Usually we frame pictures of other people, right? Or maybe we're with other people. But it's more unusual, I think, to frame a picture just of yourself. So I have a picture of myself as an 8 or 9-year-old child in a beautiful frame in a place of honor in my home. And every time I see that picture, I internally think, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Thank you for getting through. I know it wasn't easy. We made it. And now I am here for you. I live for you. Your dreams are my dreams. You are everything to me. I love you so much. And such a connection with our inner child. And then a second practice I want to share that's really fun is in the car. Earlier on, if like a love song was coming on, I would often think of a man, maybe my partner. And, you know, the song would come on. I'd be thinking, oh, I love this man so much. And all of my energy is going out, right? It's all leaving me. So now my practice is when a romantic, beautiful song comes up, I think of myself. I'm appreciating myself.
It is God's song.
Yes. I'm loving myself. I'm falling in love with myself. I love that phrase, fall in love with yourself. Yeah.
Fall in love with yourself, everybody. We have came to the top of the hour, and that is beautiful. Yeah, Spirit DJ in the house. If you've got a song that comes on, it is singing to you. Ha! It was so beautiful. Thank you, everybody. It's been a wonderful hour today. We will see you next week. Next Saturday, we are going to be diving deep into NFT, to Web3, and all of the beautiful new advances in technology. So join us for a really beautiful R&R. That's what we're calling it, R&R. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Let us rise.